The UN Human Rights Office is calling for an investigation into the death of a woman held by police in Iran. The woman's death sparked several days of protests and global criticism, including from the U.S., which is trying to revive the Iranian nuclear deal. The outrage comes ahead of a speech by the Iranian president this week at the UN General Assembly. Some 150 world leaders are in New York City for the gathering. And CBS News chief foreign affairs correspondent and the Face the Nation moderator, Margaret Brennan, is here with those leaders, and she joins me now. Welcome.
Good to be here with you, John.
Yes. Let's start with a big question. So the invasion of Ukraine, a lot of people have argued, has revived the West and has revived institutions. NATO certainly has been revived. Has the UN been revived, or is it shown to be weaker by the invasion of Ukraine?
Well, it was incredible to have the UN Secretary General, literally the man running the place, stand up and say that we're paralyzed globally, that it is a colossal challenge right now, and listed off everything going wrong. So for the man who runs the institution to say that, it underscores one key difference here. What you pointed to, the West, which President Biden has been given a lot of credit for helping to revive that military alliance in the face of Russian threat. Why was there a renewed interest in NATO? Because European leaders were terrified at that Russian invasion of Ukraine. With the United Nations, we're talking about the world. Right. And the global South in particular. So we're talking about South America, you're talking about Africa, continents that feel often slighted or have the challenge of carrying with them hangover from colonialism, for example, and this resentment of the West. So when the West calls for let's all unify, that's not necessarily resonating. What might resonate, and you're going to hear from President Biden indicate this tomorrow, is this acknowledgement that perhaps these countries and continents that have no representation at the UN Security Council, remember, the countries that are supposed to run the world are Russia, China, the United States, Great Britain, we're debating how great it still is, right, as a world power, France, and now you have these other European entities that, in the perception of the global South, try to dictate the rules to the rest of the world. So President Biden's going to dangle that promise out there and say maybe some of these other countries should have more of a voice and a role, and perhaps do so at the UN Security Council. And that is something that is interesting and might help revive some of the institutions.
Well, the UN Security Council doesn't lack for voices, and the voices of Russia and China are the ones that make the Security Council ineffective as a...
Right.
So adding more voices doesn't seem like you can layer over the Chinese and Russians.
No, and it won't change the, veto that Russia and China still have. But it is acknowledgement and perhaps amplifying some of the power that some of those continents want now, because in particular, they are most affected in Africa right now by this global food security problem that is resulting in large part because of Russia's war on Ukraine. And there's a big propaganda war between the U.S. and Russia as to whose fault that is right now. But I think it's also interesting to point out here that tomorrow, President Biden and President Zelensky are going to be speaking to the world. Zelensky via remote, President Biden here in person. And they're seen as really the stars of this global summit. But the two people who are challenging the institution the most, they're not even bothering to show up. Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping of China.
And Modi's not coming from India either.
Sending his foreign minister. Right?
So what does that mean? And China and Russia, are they sending anybody? Will there be any speaking? And are we going to see some walkouts? Or what's your sense of how that plays out? So
Russia's foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, is expected to be here in town. And according to the USO, he'll be very isolated. But they've still got friends. They've still able to trade. But we are hearing from State Department officials that they're not even going to show up on Thursday at a key UN Security Council meeting that will discuss Ukraine. Russia won't even show up. So they're voicing their veto and their vote by not even acknowledging the institution. And if you step back, why does all this matter? Because it always sounds a little, wonky, talking about the UN and these rules, like you say, you can't necessarily always enforce. But what's interesting here is Xi Jinping of China and Vladimir Putin are standing up and saying, we are founding our own new global order. And so you can all meet in New York, but we're the ones out there showing Vladimir Putin that might does make right. The exact opposite of why the UN was founded.
That's the most important thing, the exact opposite of why the UN was founded, which means Lots of challenges in the world going forward. Let me ask you the one, speaking of challenges, one of the other things that happens at the UN is sometimes there are side conversations that people often get
that's the real, yes.
Yeah, they get very
value.
dramatic about those side conversations. There has been talk about a possible side conversation about Iran and reviving the nuclear deal with Iran. Is there any chance that's going to happen?
I asked a U.S. official that today, and I was told no chance, not this week, at least. Some of the meetings that are happening are with European officials who are still party to that agreement known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. But it's really the United States and Iran who exited and need to come back. And without that happening, it's next to useless, this agreement as it stands right now.
So the people who may be talking aren't the people who need to be talking.
Exactly.
Margaret, it's great to have you here.
Good to be with you, John.